Hi everybody, how are you? This is Cece and Dr. E.T. with your Wednesday Wisdom. Hashtag Ponte Trucha or hashtag No Manches Really. And I'm not going to talk to you about poodles today, pero I wanted to hook you so that you can see my cute little Cece and you can say, oh, I love puppies. Maybe she's talking about puppies, pero no. Diles, bye Cece. Okay. Today I'm going to talk to you about historical trauma. Okay. What is historical trauma? Historical trauma is cumulative emotional trauma that has been caused to people, okay? I'm going to give you an example of what that looks like. And a couple of weeks ago, I posted something on Facebook asking if anybody had gone through historical trauma. And these are what some of the people posted, okay? Back in El Paso in the early 90s, when I first enrolled in school in the U.S., we would get in trouble for speaking Spanish. We would get detention. We would get yelled at and eventually swatted based on the number of times you would get in trouble for basically speaking Spanish. That is historical trauma. So here's another one. I was in elementary, junior high in the late 60s and was always punished for speaking Spanish. The Bilingual Education Act of 1968, I guess, had not reached our border schools. I used to make fun of the small numbers on the plastic rulers where the person would get swatted and then the numbers would get stuck to their hands, to their arms. Okay, so here's another one. My second grade teacher broke a yardstick on me for me not understanding what she was telling me. I actually peed my pants. I was so scared. I didn't understand why she would do that. She knew I only spoke Spanish, okay? My sisters and I attended the name of the school in Harlingen in the late 60s, early 70s. Two of my sisters were playing together at recess and speaking Spanish. The teacher came over, took off her high heels, the tacones, and spanked my sister. Horrible what teachers could get away with, okay? Now, first of all, this historical trauma has terrified many people. So sometimes you meet people that are, obviously Mexican or of Mexican descent, and you wonder why they don't speak Spanish. Well, if you ask them, more than likely their parents or their grandparents were abused this way. And so in order to protect their children from going through these horrible experiences, they kept the most beautiful gift from them, which was to learn and speak Spanish. But we don't live in those times anymore. And actually, sometimes it still happens. You hear people saying, hey, speak English, which of course that's the goal for us to learn English. But speaking another language is beautiful. It's a gift, okay? And so if you grew up with this historical trauma, know that it's gone, okay? It happened, right? And now we know better, so we do better. And just because it happened to us doesn't mean we have to continue this trend. So I meet many amazing people that tell me, ma'am, I don't speak Spanish. I wish I did, but my parents, when they were little, they were sent to the office. My husband and his brothers, when they lived in Granbury, Texas, every single day in the morning before school, they would have to sit outside the principal's office because they spoke Spanish. And if they spoke Spanish, well, kids were going to make fun of them, and then they would get into fights. And so they stayed without going to recess or do anything fun for all the time that they were there. But as bilingual and ESO educators of all languages and, of course, English, our goal is to change it and to not be living in the past. And yes, we went through historical trauma and we have to heal. And the only way we can do this is to empower, okay? So next time you hear somebody say, well, I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish, I bet you, I don't know, maybe 9 times out of 10, it has to do with their family's historical trauma. And then if they just don't choose to speak another language, they don't want to, well, that's their loss, right? But that's the truth about historical trauma. And you can check it out on my Facebook, Dr. E.T. Treviño Espinosa. And thank you guys who shared your historical trauma experience with me, okay? No manches really, y ponte truchas, that's the truth.